Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. We had a, I would say, medium-length meeting this week.
Yep.
And here's what we did. Under announcements, I made a little announcement, which I'll probably make more than one time over the next few weeks, about the 2020 annual town meeting, which is going to be occurring this year on Saturday, April 4th. We've revamped our citizen guide to warrant articles. The warrant is currently open for citizen article submittals. Closes on Monday, November 18th at 4 p.m. Please, if you are interested in a citizen warrant article, sponsoring one or writing one, please go to the town website, nantucket-ma.gov, and go to the town meetings section, and you will see a packet that has a guide in it, how you submit the article, what is required for the article, and a little questionnaire that we would like you to fill out. It's not required, but it helps the process about your article. What are you trying to do, basically, and what do you think it might cost, and where would the money come from, that kind of thing. All online. Also available in the town clerk's office and in the town admin office.
Are we getting some good
We haven't gotten anything yet.
submissions?
We haven't gotten anything. But also, town council is available for consultation if you wish to talk to the town attorney about a potential article. Wednesday, October 16th from 2 to 4, and Thursday, October 17th from 9 to 11, here in the town building. All right, what else do we do? Okay, our big thing this week, I guess I would say, there are a couple big things, but one of them was a report from the Nantucket Historical Commission, which is a commission that has been not very active for the past few years, which now has a resurgence, I would say. New people have come on it that are really interested in undertaking the work of the Historical Commission. They have reviewed the Milestone Road project. This is a state project. It is not a town project, and it is coming out of a safety audit that the state conducted a couple of years ago, which called for some safety improvements, including what we are seeing being done now. The bus pull-offs, there are going to be intersection improvements at Monomoy, Pulpus, and Tom Nevers. Maybe Nobody Farm Road, don't hold me to that, I can't quite remember right this second. And also some signage. So no one likes the signage.
Yeah, they seem to really not like that.
There's also a potential future, not happening now, road widening that would happen from the Rotary to Bunker Road, not the whole length of Milestone. In any event, the report had several recommendations, including reduce the signage, the non-safety signage, install granite curbing and or keep granite curbing where it currently is, and some other, where's
the granite curbing?
I guess there is, I should really look more closely at this. There is granite curbing at some of the intersections that go, it's not even, some of the roads that lead off of Milestone now. So they would like to keep that. And there was some discussion about the striping. They would like not so reflective striping, I guess. Anyway, some of this is simply federal and state safety feature standards and requirements. So some of this is just simply not going to be able to change if we want to have a safe road. Nonetheless, Nantucket is a National Historic Landmark, and the entire island is a historic district. So in the end, to make a long story short, the boards agreed to send the report to the state and ask them to consider the recommendations, but to specifically request that the signage be reduced, the non-safety signage, that the granite curbing where it currently exists be allowed to remain, maybe reset, and that we get feedback on the thermoplastic lines. What you see on Milestone Road now, the broken up lines, is temporary. That's going to go away and it'll be replaced with an actual line, double line at some point.
That's just for safety and longevity too.
Correct. Yeah.
They last a longer time.
They last a much longer time. Yeah. Otherwise, we're painting them all the time, and as you can see, we can't keep up with painting. Anyway, so that was a good long discussion. The Coastal Resiliency Advisory Committee gave an update on what they are up to. That was interesting. I won't go through all of that, but
I'm going to be taking him for a drive around.
Vince?
Yeah.
Vincent Murphy is our Coastal Resiliency Coordinator. He's very into this, so that's great.
And he's Irish too, isn't he?
He is.
It was it's nice to hear that Irish accent.
Yeah, and he has a totally adorable little baby girl.
Aw.
She's so cute.
Okay.
She wanted to come home with me the other day, but Vince didn't want that to happen for some reason. I offered to trade a 13-year-old for the baby, but no go. Also, under town manager's report, a couple of weeks ago, we had a public comment about the catch basins in the downtown Stop and Shop parking lot and whether or not they were in compliance with the Chapter 91 license for that parking lot and adjacent areas owned by Winthrop and Nantucket Island Resorts. Natural Resources Director Jeff Carlson gave a report on this, and there was some discussion. There is some level of compliance, but it's probably not 100%. These Chapter 91 licenses are issued by the state. They have to do with lands that are near the water or filled tide lands and public access and other things like that. They're issued by the state, but the state does not have the resources to come and enforce the conditions of the licenses, so it generally falls to the towns. So we were talking about a better way to monitor and maintain the conditions.
It'd be nice if we had a group that is as serious as the Historical Commission to oversee the environment too. I was thinking that.
Well,
Wouldn't that be
yes.
all that energy that they place in that?
They've got a lot of
right
energy.
now, the environment is key.
Yes. Well, Concom is pretty up on that stuff, and they have Jeff do it. But, I mean, there's a whole lot of other issues, too. Not that the environment is not important. It's critical.
Yeah.
All right. I gave the board an update on the fiscal 21 capital projects and the process we're going through to date. So we reviewed pretty much a big picture of the $1 million plus projects that are probably coming forward in 21. We also talked a bit about where we are with our public outreach and education for the 2020 single-use plastics ban, which goes into effect on June 1st, 2020. A lot of information on the website about it. If you have questions, please go look at it. This is for commercial use and distribution. Basically, we've had a lot of meetings, put out a lot of information. You're going to get an interview going with the citizens sponsor of this, Bruce Mandel, and we're going to talk about it more. Then we reviewed the stop signs at the intersection of Bartlett and Surfside. And that took a little while. The general public comment consensus seemed to be keep them where they are, keep the stop signs in. So the board voted to do just that. Then there was a bit of discussion about whether or not there's going to be a roundabout there. So in 2016, there was an appropriation to start the funding process for a roundabout at that location. And now we seem to have groups, including the school committee, who it doesn't really like a roundabout there for safety reasons. So I guess I would say there's a healthy debate about whether or not, about the safety of roundabouts and the effectiveness of roundabouts. And I think that debate is probably going to be continuing as we move ahead.
Don't we need a roundabout at the Five Corners though? Not the Five Corners, but
Four Corners?
Four Corners there. I mean,
well, we have traffic studies.
I thought we were definitely doing one there.
Well, it's, again, that is in the design stage, and we don't have construction funding for it yet. The construction funding, we believe, for a roundabout at the Surfside Bartlett intersection would come from the state. It is in the state's transportation improvement plan, but there's a process to actually secure the funds. So if it came to time for the town to seek funding from ourselves to fund that project, then that would go to town meeting and people will vote it up or down. In the meantime, the stop signs will stay.
So,
but Four Corners is another area where a roundabout is planned. There, and of course, Old South and Fairgrounds. A mini roundabout has been looked at Amelia Drive and Old South, but the roundabouts are expensive. And we probably are going to have to really look at them. And there's also a concern by at least a couple of select board members about traffic modeling. So once you get through the roundabout, then what? Are we going to find that we've got backed up traffic because downstream there are issues with congestion? A lot more discussion is going to continue happening on this.
But town meeting already approved that.
Town meeting approved some funding for design and engineering for a roundabout. It is specific in the vote at Surfside and Bartlett.
And so all that money if we're gonna do, why would we spend the money to design it if we're not going to put it in?
Good question. I think the intent right now is to proceed with at least the planning of a roundabout, and I didn't hear the board say, we don't want a roundabout there. So,
Can they stop it after the town meeting has already approved?
well, the board has a lot of authority, and I think what they could potentially do is either vote not to proceed any further, not put any more articles in for funding, or not accept any state funding to make that improvement. So
Have we spent any money on
Potentially.
it yet?
we've spent money for design, some property acquisition.
How much did we spend, roughly?
Oh, Gino, I'm not really sure. Probably about $250,000 so far,
Okay.
roughly.
Wow.
Probably a little more, including the property acquisition. It's maybe double that. But please don't hold me to that because I don't have those numbers right in front of me. But it's not a couple dollars.
So, just so people understand, so the selectmen could say, okay, we're not gonna do it. They could just pull the plug on it.
Well, yeah, they could.
Okay. Interesting. And when are we gonna know about this? When do we know whether it's gonna happen there or not?
That is a good question. I think that there probably needs to be some continuing discussion with the school committee and with the public about roundabout safety and what it would look like and what it would impact and how much it might cost the town if the state is only giving a certain amount of money and we have to pay more than that, and also what are the priorities? Is this the most important thing we're going to be looking at, transportation, roadway, infrastructure wise, or are there other things we want to focus on first? So it's possible that it could sort of, be put on the back burner for a period of time, but again, that wasn't really the intent of the discussion
Part
on
of that
Wednesday night.
250,000, there should be something that includes, like, going to look at another town that has a roundabout near a school system. I mean, that would be really effective to get that kind of information.
That's a good point. I'm sure they exist,
Sure, they
but
must.
I'm not the traffic
Got it?
transportation person, but
Yep.
that's a great idea. I'll pass that along.
All
Thank
right.
you, Gino.
You're welcome.
What else do we do? Okay, so there was a few other things under the board's reports. And then next week, October 9th, we're going to have a paid parking update. Paid parking, get ready,
it's coming.
is intended to go into effect. It's going to be a little bit phased, but it's going to happen next summer.
Can you tell people just how it's going to work mostly?
Well, we're still sorting out some of the details, like how much is it going to cost? How long will you be able to park for free? How many,
You will have free
how much
parking?
equipment? Well, I think the general concept is that in a defined area, like the downtown core district, so pretty much it's already timed parking now, and it would be standardized. So right now in the downtown, there's 15-minute, there's 20-minute, there's 30-minute, there's an hour in some areas. So the idea is to make it all consistent, and we won't have any of that broken up timed areas. So the idea is that there would be a period of time that's free. Let's pretend for a second that it's 2 hours. You'd be able to park for 2 hours free. After that, you would pay a certain amount per hour, potentially until a certain number of hours has elapsed. So let's say it's 8 hours. After that, you would get a ticket. That's sort of like phase one. And for enforcement purposes, we will have license plate readers, LPRs, and they will be used instead of chalking, and they will be able to tell where the vehicle is and how long it's been there. Much more efficient than the system that we have now. You will be able to, so if you want to park for more than 2 hours, there will be an app. You will go onto it, and from wherever you are, you can add some time. You can add an hour. You could add 3 hours, but you probably won't, and depending on how many hours you're adding, it might, this is all some decision-making points that need to be made. So after the first 2 hours, let's just pretend, I'm not even going to say a number because I don't want people to latch onto it. It's X per hour after that, but it might be like X for the next 3 hours and then a little higher for the hours after that. The idea being to encourage people not to park in the downtown all day, but to park elsewhere where it's either free or much lower of a cost, like a town parking lot somewhere, or shuttle, bike, walk, carpool, something like that.
Yeah, so that the idea of this is to discourage people parking
all day in
long-term,
the downtown,
yeah,
and to
got it.
have turnover in the downtown.
It's not really to generate money, or is it?
That is not the primary purpose. It will generate money, and the idea is that the revenue generated will go back into the program to pay for staffing, equipment, and also improvements in the district and perhaps in the outskirt areas for sidewalks, bike paths, things like that.
We already do fine people for over parking now,
Yes,
so
we do.
we do generate some money
We
from that.
generate about $250,000-ish from that
Will
per
this
year.
generate more than that?
We are not really sure. We think yes,
But
but
then
it
you're gonna have more
well,
expenses.
yes, but also it depends on the rates.
Yeah.
Depends on what the rates are. You may make more money depending on the rates. So this is going to be a pretty comprehensive update that we're going to give next week, and we hope to get the board to come to some decision-making points about the rates and some other things like that. Oh, all right. So that was next week. I think we're gonna be getting an update from the valet service as to how they did and whether or not they think they would propose doing it again. I am not a mind reader, but I would say that because of some other reasons, we are not going to be able to have that valet in the town lot again next year, but don't get too excited about it. If things go according to plan, the Harbor Master building will be under construction by then. And we are going to need some temporary facilities for bathrooms and showers. And there is probably no other option than to go in the town parking lot somewhere. So start
Okay.
wrapping your head around that. We're going to get a presentation on a sewer rate study that's been underway for about 18 months. We are going to have a liquor license fee hearing. The board's been talking about increasing liquor license fees for some time now, and I think the focus is, sorry about this, seasonal liquor licensees, but seasonal liquor license fees. We're going to have a public hearing on the number of tour, charter, and limo vehicles. So right now, we don't have a documented number, so like the taxis are limited to, I think, 60. We don't have a specific number for charter, limo, and tour, but there are licenses issued. So we're going to straighten it out and establish numbers for each category. Probably the recommendation is 10 each. There's a waiting list issue, and there's some weird stuff in those regulations that we want to clean up. The Affordable Housing Trust is going to give an update on their upcoming programs, projects, budget requests.
Big week.
So it's going to
Lot of
be,
stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here. There's probably a couple more things, but those are the major ones.
All right.
Anything else that you can think of?
Not off the top of my
I mean,
head.
what isn't going on here?
All right.
A lot going on.
Yeah. I can't bring up anything else that I'm feeling the citizens are upset about.
Oh, well, I mean,
Are they upset?
someone's always upset. Let's just face it. I'm sorry, but it's unavoidable. Okay, I will say this, in case people are wondering, although we have talked about it a few times now. The Rotary, the Milestone Rotary, and the Mid-Island Roundabout, okay? We know they were a mess all summer with weeds.
Oh,
The DPW are not landscapers, okay? And we've gone through, I won't go through the history in recent times of the Rotary landscaping, the Milestone Rotary landscaping, but it has become completely unmanageable. And we are, as you can see, the vegetation has been removed. It is going to be grassed, and it will be simply mowed going forward. So there was a bit of question about this at the end of the board meeting the other night. Why can't you just hire somebody to have landscaping done? It's a gateway. We have not
get
been
me
able
started.
to secure that. People don't really want to bid on it. It's not that big of a job. It's a visible job, but it takes a lot to keep it looking nice. We had a volunteer group that was doing it for a while. They petered out. This is what happened. No offense to volunteer groups, but it happens. That you just
Sure.
there's a couple people who get really into
course.
it, and they just go
Right.
off and do other things, and it just does not. Believe me, I've seen this numerous times. It happens. Anyway, grass is happening there.
All right.
There's also something of an issue with the memorial that is at the Milestone Rotary. And I've had relatives of the people who the memorial is for comment that they are not all that excited about the landscaping because they don't want the memorial to be obscured. So there is a bit of an argument that the memorial will be more visible now, and that is something that is important. And having less stuff there will highlight the memorial more. I've driven by it a few times now since the shrubs have been removed. I don't know if you have, Gino, but you can see better. You can.
Well, good.
So I guess that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
when beautifully landscaped, it's lovely, but we just can't keep it up.
No, I mean, keep it simple and don't put any, I don't want it looking like one of these poison green lawns.
Oh, no. No.
I mean, we're trying to.
This is going to be
we're
like.
trying to teach people to.
Yeah, this is going to
get off
be
the
sort of.
fertilizing
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
and
Understood. Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Thank you very much, Santa.